Clock says 4:30. Meeting will come to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting.
Here.
Commissioner Gay.
Here.
Commissioner Sapsy.
Here. Here. George, can you?
All bow your heads, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the day that you've given to us, and we ask for continued prayers of safety to our men and women overseas and at home, our military. We ask also, Father, for safeties for our first responders, and that they be safe and always be able to come home. We ask, Father, that you be mindful tonight of the heroic activities of our police department and first responders. They're doing a marvelous job for us in the county, and we just ask that you would bless them. We ask now, Father, that you be with us through the rest of this evening, and we would do things that would be pleasing to the folks of Gratiot County. Of course, in his name we pray. Amen.
Will you join us for the pledge? The pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Move the agenda is presented.
Moved by George, supported by Tim, to approve the agenda as presented. Now, before we go into brief public comment, I'd kind of like to introduce this guy to my right. Tim Dolahanty,
Yes.
our new administrator, county administrator.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, any public comment? Okay, moving on. Consideration of the consent calendar.
With the consent calendar is presented.
Moved by George, supported by Steve, to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Administrators report. Even though it may be.
Been a good 2 days.
Ryan didn't say anything, chased you out the door, so we're pretty good.
No, he tried, but the door
Did he?
was locked and, you know.
Yep, door was locked, windows were locked. It sucked, huh?
Ryan?
I just want to make quick note. Been a short time frame, but I reported a few weeks back that the county had been notified that the soil erosion sedimentation control program was not compliant. I think there were 9, 10 subject areas that needed to be responses prepared. That was completed, sent back to the state of Michigan. So I'm not certain where that rests at this moment, but that was returned on a timely manner. Spent the last half days or a little more with Tim, kind of sharing some of the things we've learned, where we're at, and some of the current issues here at the county. And that will conclude my report.
Yeah, it's a heck of a note. I've been here 3 years and we're on our third administrator. No, fourth, including that.
Our voluntarily leave.
Yeah. Oh, first. Hey, Steve.
After our last meeting, Thursday, the 20th, I was at, Washington Township, for their regular meeting. They had a representative from DTE come in and, speak. Teresa Hanna, she's been here several times. She came in and spoke, briefly. They are one of the, I think, 5 groups that submitted an application to the Parks Department. They are actually trying to, build a park. Washington Township does not have a park. And they have they have enough ground there at their township hall that they want to actually build a park. They bought a bunch of used playground equipment from Fulton Public Schools. And in their bid to the Parks and Rec Department, it was to build a pavilion and to put what do they call it, like ground up rubber or whatever it is they put around all the playground equipment for that rubber mulch stuff. That was what their request was for. Then last Wednesday, George and I attended the Health Department in St. John's. It was a good meeting. It was right there before Thanksgiving, and we had a good turnout. I think everybody was there for been
Yes,
minutes since we had everybody there.
Yes, they were. That was kind of unusual.
Yeah, that was kind of unusual that everybody was there. Good meeting. George is on the finance committee. They're in a good shape. I'm on the personnel committee there. They're in good shape for employment. Things are going well for the health department. Their new dental van that they got a grant from, whoops, that didn't work out too good. From Delta Dental is working out well for them. So they're using that and keeping it nice and, what do they call it? Pearly white, right?
That's
That's why they got to keep it washed all the time. And that was part of the grant application process was they had
We
to.
review all that, everything, and we review the credit cards.
Mhm.
And when that popped up, who's getting all this gas and how come they're washing the cars?
So much, yeah. It's part of the grant requirement, that van has to be clean all the time, so. And then yesterday I was at Parrington for their meeting. They had a meeting before their regular meeting, discussing their rate increases in water and sewer. There was a few people who showed up, for that. No real, I think once they explained what they were doing, it seemed pretty, well receptive. And then they went on to their regular meeting and they're almost done with all their water meter installs. It's been quite a process to get everybody to allow them to do that. But they got 20 some left to go or something in the village. So they're very close to having that completed. It was one of the most interesting things is we've all heard complaints, maybe you haven't heard, but there's complaints that come in every now and then down in the Rainbow Lake area of sewage smells. So they've actually done a study and they had this meter thing that they install at a location that all of the sewer north, basically about halfway down the lake, everything comes to this one spot that's dumped into it's called a gravity receptacle, and it all dumps into that, and then it free flows for approximately a mile until it gets to where it needs to be pumped into the lagoons. At that location is one of the areas where there's concern. And when they tested it, the meter actually maxed out, like couldn't read anymore. And it's just part of the aging system is the problem with that. And so there's treatment things they can do along the way to treat the sewage so that it won't have that effect, because it's just the length of time it's in the system to get there. And it was interesting that, because it has been something that people have complained about. And I've heard complaints at the township meetings and at the village and stuff. So it is interesting that they're doing studies on it to try and mitigate it and make it so it's less obtrusive in that area. So that was kind of the big news. They also put in an application for some more equipment. If you haven't been to Parrington, they've received 2 over the last 4 years, I believe. And they have really improved their parks. They have some really, really, really nice parks for the village of Parrington. Has a very nice park system, and they actually went for a variance and put some down at their ball fields. They moved some of their equipment down to the ball fields, and so they have 2 areas within the small village of Parrington that are very nice with nice new equipment. So they have a very nice park there. And that concludes what I have to say.
Dan?
Okay, by the way, I'm over by Parrington quite a bit too, and I think that's a nice little town. And you have it's just nice to drive through there. A lot of times I come back from Rainbow Lake and I'll go through, take 57, then go through Parrington. And it's very scenic, a lot of deer over there, see deer that run around in front of me. But anyway, my meetings was at Conservation District. It was in Alma this time.
I missed, so Jan went.
Pardon?
I said, I missed, so Jan went.
Well attended. And it was a couple of hours, I think we were there. and talked about a lot of different things. Just, because of the federal government being down, the conservation district was closed. And so they still had their meetings and they had it over, it would have been,
MSU Extension.
yeah, MSU Extension. So that was, it is quite nice over there too. So anyway, and then I also had a meeting at Bethany Township, that same week. So the end of the year, I usually try to pick up a couple extra places. Once a year, I try to visit every different, like conservation district, and I visit, I'm trying to think of the other one in Alma with the children. I try to go, and I also go to the prison a couple of times a year, just to kind of get an idea of what else is going on in our community. That's always nice. It was nice to, go because they're always glad to see a commissioner come to their meetings. But anyway, the other one was, Bethany Township, not a lot happening. This is the end of the year, so we'll start off on the right foot starting next year.
Hey, Tim,
Oh, today I went, with Food with Friends, with Joe Jones, in Ithaca on North Avenue. It's the first time I've been in the building. Joe Jones informed me that they build it with their own money over the years. They had money and then they would build some. I think she said the city of Ithaca actually has the building. We had goulash and a lot of elderly widows. There's 4 places in Gratiot County that have this, like Food with Friends. Alma, Fulton, and Ithaca and Brecken. So it's good, when your spouse dies, you're all alone, it's good to be with people.
okay, George,
On Monday, the 21st or 24th, I went to Breckenridge Village Meeting. They're winding down. They're just had reports on their new fire hall. They're coming along with that. They just got the first coat of asphalt down. They didn't believe they would be able to put the other one down because of the weather. So that was the end of that. Also, the famous, infamous Beacon and Bridge gas station over there is still not down. They're still working on it. And as I've reported before, the company's name is around to it. So we're waiting for them to get around to it. I've called them every Monday so they can assure me that they're gonna be there as soon as they get around to it. That's the end of my report.
well, after last meeting, I went to Pine River Township meeting. It was done in about 20 minutes. Not like my other township that takes 2 hours. But anyway, and I went to the Brownfield meeting. That's always kind of interesting, kind of different. But anyway, Jim would have to tell you more about that than me. So moving on, new business.
Excuse me, can I ask a question? When is the township meeting? That's out at Pine River Township,
I believe it's the 18th.
18?
September 18th, yeah.
Thursday. Thursday after our next meeting.
Yes,
Get together.
Thursday after our next meeting.
yes.
Okay,
That's-
that's at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, meal, they would eat at 6 and meeting at 7.
Okay, thanks.
Chicken. Hey, moving on, first on the agenda. Some short bald-headed guy wants to give out some awards. I meant to say our honorable sheriff.
Yeah. So unfortunately, our, one of our 911 dispatchers couldn't make it here today, but, we'll have our one of our honored guests come up. So this is gonna be the young gentleman that we're talking about today. For those of you that don't know him, Jeff Arnold is also a county employee. He works down there at the drain office. And
Good job too, by the way.
yes. And besides him working down there, Jeff Arnold is also my classmate. And, so I've known this guy for 50+ years, so he's my classmate. He's a great friend of mine. He's an employee of the county. But, he was in a pretty, rough state that day, so, back on Veterans Day, we had the day off, and about 12:30 or so, Carla, his wife, gave Central Dispatch a call and said, "Hey, my husband is not, he's unresponsive, he's in and out of consciousness." And so being a good dispatcher, Kelly Williams got right on the horn and started getting units en route to the farm. And MMR was, I believe, almost up in the Mount Pleasant area. So my deputies were there within 6 minutes of the call. MMR wasn't there until 22 minutes later, which, obviously they must have had some calls and that, but regardless, if the deputies hadn't been there, I don't know what we'd be doing today, And so we get there, Deputy Tanis, Deputy Bowell, you guys can step up, please. They arrived on scene and they assessed the situation. And when you look at the body cam footage, you could see exactly what was happening. And it was not good for my buddy Jeff. He was talking to him, and then all of a sudden, just pretty much coded right out, and was gone. Deputy Tanis, obviously didn't want his wife to see, and so he gave her tasks to do. He purposely told her, "Hey, here's my keys to my car. Go out there, grab my black bag," and didn't tell her what he was going to be doing next. But as soon as she got out of eyesight, he grabs onto Jeff, strains him out, starts ripping off his clothes so he could start doing chest compressions on him, doing CPR. And Carla comes back in and he gets his AED. The machine that she brought to him was his AED machine out of his car. So then he tells Carla again, "Hey, why don't you go out there and bring rescue back in, listen for the sirens, come back in," because unfortunately you just never know what's going to happen. Deputy Tanis puts the pads on Jeff, and then Deputy Bauk is also there, and the machine tells him, "Hey, a shock is needed." Jeff is out, and a shock is needed at this time. Deputy Bauk administers the shock, and it was just like a light switch kicked right back on, and all of a sudden Jeff is up, and I would say something like felt like something kicked you or something pounded on you or whatever, but he's still not quite. I mean, he's still there, but he's not quite there. But with these guys and their medical experience that they have, they were able to bring back not only a county employee back, but a classmate of mine. Unfortunately, we just lost a classmate here within the last week. So it's pretty somber times, for us right now in the class of '89. And but what I would like to do, if Jeff would, is we have Deputy Bauk, a life-saving award. And then we also have Deputy Tanis. They kept it good and the professional. on the body cam. And, these guys are very well trained. Deputy Tanis is our medical guru for the office. He, anytime we need updates, Deputy Tanis is the one that performs those and gets us going. He's also on rescue and fire and everything else, and he's just great. Deputy Bauk is a phenomenal deputy as well, and very well trained. They didn't panic. They knew exactly what they needed to do that day, and because of them, a classmate is here, to be able to speak and talk today. So I'm very grateful. Thank you, guys.
I want to thank all you guys, because you guys are the ones that put those AED in our county cop cars. I would not have been here today if it wasn't for you. You guys are underappreciated, and I'm glad you guys do what you do. Each and every one of you.
Hey, Carla. I did not recognize you. Hi. Gather fruit. Did not recognize her.
Yeah, I think, yep, again, Tom.
So on the next item on the agenda, we're gonna talk about those, the AED machines. I'm gonna let Deputy Tanis do the talking on that. He's my medical guru. He's the guy that, he's the expert on them, and so any questions you guys might have, Deputy Tanis can help you out on that.
Hello, Tanis. So I've been up here a couple times, and obviously, we just heard the story about what these machines do. Currently, right now, our department only has 5 that we share as a department. That includes our jail as well. So, what I'm gonna kind of do is I'll be brief, but I'll walk through kind of the machines and how they work. So the machines that we use are called Zoll AED Pluses. Zoll has kind of been like the name brand manufacturer that most departments, Elma PD, Breckenridge, St. Louis, that's who they use. With those, the technology has really advanced based on my training and stuff as a CPR instructor and medical instructor and stuff like that, as they've advanced quite drastically to where it's no longer a one battery type thing. You can actually buy the batteries from Meyer. They take 3 or 6 volt batteries and they plug in, and they're very inexpensive. After this event on the 11th, I got talking to Commissioner Bailey, and he was very helpful in talking to me about it. And I explained to him about how I would really like for all of our cars to have these equipped. From that scene, I no longer had pulled out of their driveway, and I got sent to a gentleman who was having the exact same medical emergency that Jeff was having up on Half Moon Lake.
It's not easy.
And it is a long drive up there, and I was the first person there from just south of Ithaca. I had beaten the rescue and the ambulance because it was one of those days where MMR is strained and they just didn't have any ambulances to send us. And I was on scene for 10-ish minutes there. So having these AEDs would be super helpful. And just looking back at the incident, just thinking if I didn't have that AED, what would have happened? At the same time that Mr. Arnold's medical emergency happened, there was another medical emergency in Ithaca, which sent their rescue truck to that call instead of his. Well, like, what would have happened if I wasn't there with an AED, or my partner wasn't there with an AED? What would have happened? And the big thing that in requesting this stuff is that our department for years has not came to this board and asked for a lot. This isn't a toy. This is a tool for us. This is something that we're seeing come back and pay dividends of saving people's life. This isn't something that we want. This is something that our citizens deserve. And it's something that our our department really needs. So I'm more than willing to go through the breakdown of everything, answer any questions that you have, or speak with you guys or show you guys the AEDs and how they work after. If that's something anybody is interested in. So kind of what we're looking for, is to get enough AEDs so that every patrol car will be equipped with it. So whether we're up in, or down in Bannister, we're up in Wheeler, anywhere in the county that a patrol car is that it will be equipped with an AED, that will be usable. And then the bag valve masks, we have an initial, purchase of those because MMR no longer gives us those. However, once we use them on scene, they will replace ours. So once we buy the first set, then they will then provide us with new ones. And it's already built in to get the AED pads into our budget. It's already built in, so there wouldn't be any cost with that. And then I really wish we would have had the video to show, but in the video you see me struggling with the scissors that are provided, that we don't get provided scissors. So I just bought a cheap pair of Amazon scissors, and it really delayed care by almost 2 to 3 minutes because I was trying to cut Carhartt coats, trying to cut bibs, that kind of stuff. So that's all built into the cost that I'm looking to get our guys and girls. But is there any questions that I could answer for you guys? Go ahead, sir.
What happened to all the bag mass valves that you had?
We have those, but we don't have enough. So we're not buying, like, we have some right now. However, this would allow us to have every car start fresh. We have 3 or 4 that are saved up now. However, we keep
There's a
the,
case about that big full of them when I left there. So
Correct.
You've either used them all or
unfortunately, we've had a lot.
deal was you use it, MMR replaces it.
Correct. Oh, correct. However,
Hasn't happened.
correct. And have, since you've left, we've had obviously such a high turnover that we have new people that don't understand that all you have to do is ask the ambulance. And we've started that, and we've sent out emails. I've sent out emails advising that. And like I said, we had dropped down the supply. However, we're back up to where we need to be.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. How many do you think you need? How many do you need?
8 would put one in every patrol car except for command vehicles. So, and every marked patrol car that we would have, as well as one in the jail.
What's the plan with them in the cars? Because they're junk if they sit outside right now.
They're not. So I've talked with Zoll,
I
and
talked to him today. Your text, I personally.
Every department I called today, they bring them all in. State Police, Elm PD, everybody, because of the
They're
sensitivity to cold.
Yep, they're in insulated cases now. And so he said you can leave them out in the patrol vehicle for 3 days and it wouldn't hurt them. I specifically asked him that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something's changed because
that and the batteries are different. The old batteries, you're 100% right. Those batteries are about $200 a piece, and they freeze easy and they go dead easy. With the new ones, they're just 3 volt or 6 volts.
they're the little camera batteries.
Is there a way that you can leave them in, like say in the office over there, and then as somebody gets into a car, they can grab it and put it in the car, and when they're back, they put it.
People forget to grab, and so if they have to run out the door, which is what they're doing right now. Unfortunately, you might have a vehicle that's out on nights, say, and they're being held over on a complaint or whatever. Well, you get the day car and they start their shift and they get out on a complaint. The other guy is not back in yet, to be able to exchange equipment. So this way, every car will have one. And not only that too, but then they're responsible for their own specific machine. So if they don't have the pads replaced or the mask or anything, it's on them. It's not gonna go, unnoticed. If they use that, it's only them that uses it. And so they're responsible for replacing them.
Out of curiosity, how much does one cost?
So the machines themselves, they cost just over $2,000. And like I said, it's the pads and stuff are already built into our budget. So there's, like I said, the startup cost it's a lot, but once you have started it, like I said, there's no cost going forward. Like I said, we can replace those bag valve masks. we can replace those AED pads. We can replace those batteries.
Have you looked at other funding sources?
We've
I sent you today, Tom.
So we've looked into grants and stuff. The issue that we have with the grants is that right now the federal government, with just getting out of the shutdown and stuff like that, we've had really bad luck in finding grants that would fit our county, in the sense of we're a lot bigger than some of the smaller counties, but we're not big enough to where we would meet certain grants. It's the same thing where there's other things that we've looked at, and we've looked at like the Luniac and stuff like that. However, they don't provide enough to where we would get these for every single car. And so, like I said, that's kind of why we're coming to you guys to ask for those tools.
Luniac one come up with 16,000.
Just based on other people putting stuff in. Like I said, we didn't put in for that one, but just in putting out the feelers and stuff with different people in the community.
Is there, I guess I missed this maybe, is there, when you are talking about this machine, is there different grades of machines? Like, is there, how many and
So
grades is?
they're, in my opinion, they all work the same. There's not one that's better than the other ones. It's basically like buying a Ford or a Chevy, or they all work very well. The thing that I've always preached to our people and stuff is I want something that's easy. There's an on-off button and there's a shut button. You can't mess it up. And in stressful situations, that's something that I want for our guys and girls. Is I want something that's super easy for them to be able to the machine talks to them, and like I said, we could spend the extra $20,000 and switch all of our AEDs to something else, something smaller, but we don't need that. That's not something we need. We need something that is basic, simple, something that we've seen over the years be effective in this county, not only realistically, but financially.
The MMR still runs Zoles.
They do, but they do not carry our pads anymore. They have switched to a new.
You just unplug and plug in.
Yeah, they can take off our AED pads and plug in. They have a key, or it kind of looks like a flash drive that plugs in both sides, and it'll allow our AED pads to hook to their machine. But we can't get pads from them because they use like leads that are like super small. They look like little circles if you've ever been to the hospital. That's what they're using now.
Okay.
And our machines are that, and then for us, it's just not feasible. They're $5,000-6,000 a machine, and that's not feasible for our county, nor is it practical.
Do all you guys take classes now also to learn how to use it?
So I'm our CPR, AED, first aid, basic life support instructor for the county. I've brought up a couple times I'd be more than willing to provide obviously classes, not only to the sheriff's department, but to any of the departments here. I've offered my services and being able to certify people's CPR, Narcan, first aid, that kind of stuff.
I think it's wonderful. I do know that, it seems like we go through stages where, like lately, I've heard the ambulance going out a lot and.
Like I said, it's one of those things that it goes in spurts. I mean, we're in the holiday season. People are inside more. People are around family, which creates stress or decreases stress. There's this, you can't get out, you can't exercise. I mean, there's just different things that fluctuate the need for an ambulance. So, and like I said, that's kind of where we've been seeing this. Like I said, the day that Mr. Arnold had collapsed, our ambulance was coming from Mount Pleasant. It's nothing that's MMR's fault. It's just how the thing falls. And within a matter of hour, we had 6 priority 1 medicals in this county at the same time. It's just one of those things that it just goes in spurts. We can go days where we don't see any of this, or like I said, there's that day where I could have used my AED twice. So.
That was the other question. So you can, if you have, like, say you're working on one person and then you know, that person, somebody comes and picks them up by ambulance, takes them off. Can you go ahead and use that machine again?
Absolutely. So it's multi-use. Like I said, and we've been really good at carrying 2 sets of pads for that same thing. Like I said, if it wasn't for me having 2 sets of pads, it's basically a paperweight. But like I said, it's one of those things that we can, all you gotta do is remove the pads, put a new thing on, and you can reuse it.
Once you help somebody and they're feeling, you know, they start feeling better and they're talking again, do you still send them to the hospital?
Absolutely. That's so absolutely. So I tell people I have a stethoscope, but I'm not a doctor. It's one of those things that that obviously some people, especially around here, we all know the farmers are super tough. I can't make that determination for them, but if you have to get shocked by an AED, you need to go to the hospital because that's just resetting your heart back into the right rhythm, not to say it won't go out again.
Yeah.
Standing up.
Yeah. Like I said, it is like going through a full workout. I mean, our tasers are 50,000 volts and it doesn't even compare. I mean, an AED, and I'm not gonna nerd out on you guys. What an AED does is when your heart isn't beating, it's quivering like this, an AED stops your heart. The shock is so powerful that it stops your heart, and that's what resets your heart to beating again. So it's very powerful, and it's like I said, it's something that needs medical attention to go to the hospital to get evaluated. And even after we did and we got him in the ambulance, we looked at his reading, and he was still in that rhythm. He just was back breathing and talking again.
Oh,
Just a little clarification, Tom.
Yes,
The money here, the 17,524.42. So you're asking the county to pay for that?
yes, sir.
Okay. So that will have to be a budget amendment because it's not in our budget. Just to make everybody aware, not that we don't have it, I just want to know, everybody know where that money's come from.
I guess my next question is, so we're gonna leave them in the cars. Who's gonna be responsible for checking them?
Me, I'm already in charge of checking all of our AEDs. I check them once a month. And I just took the tag off that, but we have his medical zip ties that go over top. And we write the date in Sharpie every single month. Or every first Monday that I come back to work and the start of the month, I check the AEDs, I turn them on, make sure the batteries are good. If the batteries are anything below satisfactory, they get re-put in. AED pads are checked, the bags are checked to make sure that the Narcan's in there and everything that we possibly need. I'm in charge of checking the jails, and I've been coming and wandering over here to check the courthouses just to be safe over here. But like I said, everything gets checked on a monthly basis, and if anything's used, it's required that the officers report that use to me because I keep track of everything for our licensing and certifications.
You guys know I'm your biggest fan, so I just want to make sure, because I did this for 30 years and I know, oh, you check it on Monday, it gets used on Tuesday and next on Monday.
You've been a cop long enough to know how it goes. Like I said, it's.
Oh, it goes. That's the problem with not bringing it into the sheriff's office every day so that somebody has to put their eyes on it. When you leave stuff in the police car, when you own your own patrol rifle, that baby gets brought in every night. When the county owns them, the shit can sit out there and corrode and rot. No one seems to care. That's the problem. That's my biggest hang up on these things, not having to have eyeballs put on them and issued out on a daily basis is,
And it's one of the.
know what's gonna happen 6 months from now.
Well, and like I said, we've talked about it
It's gonna be.
and
But this way they're held accountable and it's not, who had that bag before, who checked out that bag. This way, that deputy is accountable for that. There's consequences.
That car goes back to the.
There's consequences to go with that.
I'm all for providing stuff for the sheriff, for the people of Gratiot County, and have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, let them have 8. Is it AD machines? Is that?
AEDs.
AD machines
Bag.
at the price of 17,000.
It's for all the stuff.
That's for all the stuff. It's the AEDs, the bag valve mask,
Yep.
the EMS bags to hold all this stuff,
Yeah,
the medical shears and the carabiners to hold the shears to the bag, correct?
yes, yep, it'll be everything. And like I said, once we get those, I'd be more than willing to bring them back. I know, obviously I know your guys' time's super important, but I'd be willing to come in and show you guys, or you guys obviously are more than welcome to stop over.
I think it's wonderful what you're doing and what you can do now. I mean, for years, police officers did not have that.
Like I said, we work in such a sparse county where, I mean, especially during the day, I see it all the time where different departments are getting toned 2 to 3 times for these medical emergencies and they just don't have anybody to respond. And it kind of puts us in a bad situation where I'm not asking our guys to be paramedics. I'm not asking our guys to be doctors. But I'm asking that if our neighbor, our friend, or our farmer isn't breathing, that we go there and we provide them the best care we can until one of those people can get there.
Electricity and drugs help save lives, and you're gonna have the electricity part. That's what happened.
I will support, Mr. Bunning's, motion.
Motion by Jan, supported by George, to provide the funding for,
Does have to be a roll call because of the amount of money.
didn't get to that part yet.
I just knew you were rolling towards a vote. Heard the tone enough.
I think you could bring it in and you could show us on one of these guys.
Well, you can't, that,
Don't work that way.
yeah, they're foolproof. Like I said, you can't mess it up. If you mess it up, then you're smarter than I am.
You can't just have Marty lay down and zap him. We'd have done that tonight if we could have.
Ready for a roll call, Jan?
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes,
Commissioner Owens.
Yes.
Thank you guys so very much.
Thank you and welcome. We're super excited to have you at the Sheriff's Department. So congratulations and thank you.
Be over. Hoping he doesn't need an AED here.
Next up, Jim Wheeler. It will appear.
After that, I feel pretty unimportant at that point from that standpoint.
Is that will appear or is that Jim Wheeler?
Jim Wheeler will appear.
It's either me or my whatever twin,
Well.
which we hope we don't have. In any case, the reason I'm here is that we currently have a hospital finance authority in our county. The reason that we had that was quite a while ago when we actually had a hospital domiciled in our county. It was used to finance things. Now we have a wonderful hospital that's domiciled in our county, but it's owned by My Michigan out of Midland. So its home base is Midland, even though we're to, I can't remember which level it is now that they've grown and the dollars that they've spent there. So we have a great facility, but the ownership's not located in Gratiot County. So any financing they do would come out of Midland at this point. So we no longer have a need for a hospital authority. I think I've promised everybody for quite a long time we get rid of it. So this is sort of my swan song as we go out of there. But what we need to do is have a motion, because when it was incorporated in, it stays in perpetuity. And we need to amend that portion of the articles of incorporation that will say that it will be sunsetted if nobody does anything as of 12/31/2025. So that's what we would need from you, and then it'll sunset it and be gone.
So moved that we approve the resolution amending articles of the incorporation of the County of Gratiot Hospital Finance Authority to end 12/31/2025.
Or
Moved by Steve, supported by Tim, to adopt the resolution, and this is a roll call.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
yes,
Commissioner Gay,
yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes.
As you remember, the last meeting we had, we appointed Todd Muggenberg
Yep.
on this same board. So I think he holds the record for the shortest amount of time served in any position.
And just, and when I know it's on TV and everything, just to remind everybody that we do have a great hospital in our county. So it's nothing to do with that. This is just financing pieces of it. They just completed their update of the physical side of it for about $30 million. So a lot of dollars are being spent out there. It's a great system. Will continue to be for years to come. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is this your last meeting? Or you're gonna come back next 2 weeks from now, just
Thanks.
well, thank you for how many years of service?
10 years.
10 years. So thank you for your 10 years of service to Gratiot County as well.
6-5.
Yeah, thank you, have helped bring about some big changes to not only in the brownfield redevelopments and all that kind of stuff, but there's things to be proud of, and you made a big head.
Partners here, so we're in good hands going forward.
Yeah, we're gonna take your word on it, Jeff.
You've got.
give you this word.
Okay, looks like next up is Matt.
Alrighty.
Good evening. Tonight, I wanted to discuss two projects. One is the analog, a project to replace our analog security cameras. And the second is a capital improvement project to improve our building security here at the courthouse. In the memo, I kind of laid out what these two projects are doing. They're adding additional security cameras. They're replacing very old security cameras. We're adding two additional badge key card readers in two departments. And then we intend to add a persistent emergency exit notification system so that the security guards know if one of those emergency exits have been opened. Currently, they know the door has been opened because an alarm goes off. And as the door is opened, they can see which door it is. But as soon as that door gets shut, they lose their alert as to which door was the one that was actually open. So this lets them see which door was open so they can go and investigate why it was opened. Involved with these projects are two different vendors. One is EPS, they're our building security vendor, so they manage our security cameras and our key card access system. And then we also have VC3, which is our IT systems vendor. Ryan asked me to kind of dig into EPS's pricing and just do some digging to make sure that they're competitive, just because we've been doing business with them for so long and we've considered them as sole source vendor for so long. So we did invite a different security company up that Commissioner Sopsey had met at, I believe it was Matt.
Yeah, convention up in Traverse City. Yep.
So they were a my deal vendor. So they came up and kind of toured the courthouse and declined to quote against EPS because they felt that they couldn't meet the same service and support requirements that we like to have, especially over at the jail, where they're able to service the equipment 24/7, 365, even on Christmas. You know, they can go over and make sure that the doors are working properly over at the jail. So we met with them and they declined to bid on it. I had EPS send me some detailed price listings so that I could match their equipment component pricing to public pricing that I had seen for the same componentry, just to make sure that they weren't, charging us twice as much for for a security camera that another company would. So that pricing checked out okay. Yeah, so I guess that's really all that I have to say about that. In the memo, lists a table that has the project pricing for installation and equipment, and then for the equipment, there's also a recurring fee for service support that we had talked about, but also for them to come out and inspect the equipment twice a year as well.
Yeah, this also coincides with the committee that's been meeting for years now for courthouse security, correct?
Yeah, this is
their recommendations to work with you you've been a part of that committee as well.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, these recommendations really come from the committee, not me. I'm just the person presenting it to the board and also kind of executing the project with the two vendors because they're IT related.
That's why you guys this is all part of the ongoing process that's, we've been months and years working on this thing. And these are points that were brought up and, concerns you had and other members of the committee had on the age of some of the footage we were able to get, bringing them all up to date with the newest, latest, greatest stuff. So we'll have better quality video. And heaven forbid you ever really need to use it. You want to be able to identify somebody. It's very frustrating when you have very grainy footage of something and it's really not very helpful at all. So
yeah, for those 14 oldest security cameras, I couldn't tell you exactly when they went in, but those ones, they almost, if you want to identify somebody that's standing in front of one of those ones, you have to hope that they walked in front of one of the newer cameras because unless you know who they are, you wouldn't be able to figure out who they were based on the footage you're getting. So.
You're not gonna get facial recognition or anything off of any of those. It just isn't gonna happen, so. I so move that we approve the $63,120 for the updates to the EPS and VC3 security system for the courthouse, along with the additional $411 a month, I guess, service fee that comes along with that, those new products.
Is this, if someone breaks in the building?
This, the security cameras, it is for that type of thing, but also staff do use them to locate other staff around the building. So like court staff will see if the prosecuting attorneys are in one of the other courtrooms, so they know where to get them, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's used for building security primarily, but there's a secondary use for it too.
I'll support.
Moved by Steve, supported by George, to approve the recommended $63,120 plus $411 a month for support just for EPS and VC3 as the vendors for building security improvements. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I'm sure Brad and the committee are very appreciative as well. So thanks.
I remind everybody that it's a budgeted item.
Yes, that is part of our.
I forgot, I just didn't remember to say that.
Like, John, you're up.
Okay, maybe next time we'll have a fun.
You give them a little advice on, when you're young and new, a commissioner asks you to, just saying.
When you do it first, I'll follow suit.
You know what, we got a tuba player now, I'll poke up a storm with it.
Perfect. Perfect. Parks and Rec,
Dancing shoes,
huh?
bring your dancing shoes.
I got them all shined up and ready to rock and roll.
He'll be the judge.
So the Parks and Rec Department has, a work truck that needs to get replaced, 2016, Ford. It's losing some power and it's our workhorse, so we use that to take our tractor out to other parks for the small projects. Our dump trailer, plowing snow, getting pallets of salt for the winter, getting pallets of ball field material, things like that. Josh uses that, so like I said, we use that on a daily basis. We're not looking to trade that in. That would stay within the Gratiot County fleet. Come up here to the maintenance department, so they could use that and keep it in rotation. The next thing is, we have a 2007 John Deere tractor, with it's got 3,300 hours on it. Again, we use that, for, projects such as trees, brush hogging. It's our workhorse, to keep the parks clean whenever something major happens, rather than bidding it out or anything. We can just go take care of it. The guys have taken care of it as much as they can, because the county had it before they all started. And it's just getting to that point where it doesn't lift anything. We can't even take a full pallet out of it. We have to unload it by hand. So we're looking to purchase a new truck and tractor. The Parks and Rec Board, I got 3 quotes for the truck, one from Alma Button-Baker, Ithaca Button-Baker, and then Graf Chevrolet. Alma's price, they don't have the prices out under my deal yet for 2026. But when we purchased the last year's work truck, it was below the my deal price. So she's helped us out quite a bit by giving us a pretty good discount. And then the John Deere tractor, the reason you only see 1 quote is because that is under my deal. So it doesn't matter what John Deere rep you go to, whether it's in St. Louis or 2 hours away, it's going to be the same price no matter where you go. So the reason I went to Hudson's, obviously it's in county and it's 15 minutes away. So, Parks and Rec Board, recommended staying local. So going with the Elma Benton Baker quote for $58,525. And then obviously keeping that truck within the fleet. And then the Hudson quote of $58,793 for the compact utility trailer.
Was just a little curious why you went from a F-150 to a Silverado 2500.
Chevrolet seems to be built a little bit better. I've heard good reviews that it will last longer and it's got a little bit more power than what the Ford F-250 has. So that's why I went with the Chevy. Plus the quotes I got for Ford were about $2,000 more than what Chevy was. So the reason I went to Alma is because she's given us a pretty good discount and has treated us well in the past for the previous vehicles that we've gotten through them. So
Need a motion for individual pieces. right?
individual probably.
Yeah. I so move that we authorize the purchase of the 2026 2500 LT Chevrolet for $58,525.06 from the Baker Auto Group in Elma.
Support that.
Moved by George or Steve and supported by George to purchase a truck from Baker Auto Group for $58,525.06.
The vehicle that's 2016, will that be traded in?
No, it's gonna come up here to the courthouse for the maintenance department. Cause they,
Gonna replace that, you can see all the way through the truck bed.
I don't know what year that one is, but their truck up here is getting in bad shape, so. Rather than getting rid of it and trading it in, we're gonna just keep it in the fleet and give it to
I
maintenance.
wonder if they're gonna trade in their vehicle.
That's probably salvage.
It's probably
Yeah.
the highest
They
bid.
might sell it on an auction, but it ain't gonna go for much.
No,
That'll be on Joe Sherwood's internet auction.
And one other thing I did forget to mention is that both of these items are, and have been budgeted for.
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention that earlier. So.
Okay, we have a motion and second to purchase a Chevy. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Now we're looking for a motion.
Move that we approve the purchase from Hudson's under the my bid. For a total of, after the trade-in difference of $43,793.50. We're trading in the other, they give us $15,000 trade-in allowance, so. To Hudson's, for the
4052R.
4052R, the 440 loader and a 498 backhoe. So
One whole package.
I'll second it.
Moved by Steve, supported by Jan to buy a tractor from Hudson.
Job, yeah.
Price of $43,793.58. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you guys very much. If I don't see you, have a good holiday.
Have a good holiday, John. And that was pretty much the end.
Quick comment.
Public comment, yeah.
I think we need to, based upon the instructions that we had, to do a roll call vote on the,
Oh, we did.
We did.
Did we do roll call?
yeah.
We did.
All right, sorry.
Are you sure she's equipped to take over?
My fault.
Come on, Jim.
No.
Heard her whispering in your ear about that.
We did, yeah, we did a roll.
Did you?
Yeah, we actually did on that one.
We know what we're doing here. We know what.
We were just
33753.
ravishing in that this is your last one.
If there's no additional comment, I make a motion to adjourn.
Support that.